Welcome to the Financial Freedom Guy podcast. I'm with my good friend Vasili here. We've been in West Palm Beach. We've been in Houston together. We've done some things together. And Vasili, we were introduced by Patrick Bet-David's group, the valuetainment folks. Really hit it off there and kept things going. But we're here to talk about CoolEdge Bits, something better in the energy sector. So with that, before we dig in too much, can you give the audience some insight about you, who you are, some background?
Yeah, so Vasili, basically I was, created, let's say, on the other side of the planet in Russia. Originally, I was born in Moscow and was growing up there, and then started really becoming an athlete at a really early age. Had some tough Soviet era training in the 80s, and started playing tennis then, and then we were able to move here to the States in the early 90s. My father is a Fulbright scholar, was able to get a Fulbright grant to do research, development, and study and teach here in your neck of the woods, actually, in Rockville, Maryland is where we live, but he was at University of Maryland College Park, and then we had a semester or two there, and then he was able, actually we're able to get down to Houston to teach at University of Houston. But this whole time I'm playing tennis just all day, every day. That's my life. And he's kind of quickly started to see that it's tough to raise comfortably a family in this country on a teacher salary, which is a little bit sad. So he kind of started to look at other options, and went off and started to work for another company and started his own business and became very successful. Started to do a lot of work with different car companies, with U.S. Navy, and receiving grants from those folks as well to help improve engines, combustion engines, and basically inventing and patenting new burners and injectors to those engines for better fuel efficiency and less, emissions. And was very successful with that. And but originally he's a rocket scientist, right? So his love and passion is rocket engine design. He's got patents in that space. So that was kind of how he was moving at the time. We're talking probably this is the 2000s, 2000 to 2010, I would say. So that's kind of, I would say that era is where I'm coming to. I'm around.
But let's dive into that. I mean, he is a rocket scientist, and he not just cars, but he built some rockets, right?
So rocket engine, he's made improvement to rocket engine design in different first stage, second stage, using his degrees and knowledge in mechanical engineering, rocket science, physics, things in physics like mass heat transfer, fluid dynamics, thermodynamics. And so, yeah, very smart guy. The apple fell very far from the tree here with me. I'm just a dumb athlete. No, I'm just kidding. And so that was kind of his deal. And he's worked for some of the biggest companies in the world, as far as aerospace engineering, the ones we all know owned by billionaires, and even all the way up to NASA as of recent. So, but how CoolEdge and myself, at that time I'm playing tennis. I was a very highly competitive junior tennis player, and I was able to leave the junior career and go pro, play some pro tournaments, and kind of experience that. And kind of had some injuries, some setbacks in my early 20s, and my first child was coming, so it was like time to, start a real life. And so I kind of fell into coaching a little bit, teaching tennis. I never thought of myself as a coach, but I really enjoyed it. My first couple experiences were very rewarding, and I started teaching, and I've been teaching for a long time. And so, yeah, I mean, you're probably hearing all this and wondering, where do drill bits come into play? So it's...
Let's paint a picture a little bit. I mean, so you're a competitive guy, professional in tennis. You became responsible, take care of your family. That's always a good thing. Your dad, meanwhile, your dad has his long history with materials, heat. How do you make things work better? Especially like rocket engines, right? Every ounce counts, kind of thing. You got to really be effective. So where does that come together? We're talking about CoolEdge Bits. Where does it all come together?
Right. So our business. So basically, my father, again, not necessarily from the oil and gas space, but he has some friends a number of friends that are business owners there, and they kind of would always urge him to come step into the space and look at some of that technology, downhole tool design, and his experience. Maybe he can do something, create something to especially the hydraulics part of the working of, let's say, drill bits. And he never really was interested in it as much, but he is kind of a guy that can go into something and with his knowledge, if he sees a flaw in the design, or the architecture of it, he can, with his knowledge, potentially come up with a solution to that flaw and improve a design. And so his buddies just kept bringing over, used drill bits to his house and just dropping them off in his garage. And he still was just kind of like doing his thing, and with working at another, company, rocket company, let's say aerospace engineering company. And basically, he was finally he started to, I guess one night or whatever, he kind of maybe took a little bit of a closer glance at some of these bits, and they were bringing drill bits from the top companies in the world, that are in the space. And he started to look at it, was like, oh, this is wrong, they do this wrong. So he started to get into it and started to kind of research and develop, do some experiments, some designs, drawings, and he was able to basically, we didn't know it back then, and thanks to his friends, but I guess they knew it the whole time, that it takes a rocket scientist to basically invent the world's best drill bit. And so with his knowledge, he went into the hydraulics kind of space of the bit. I think in the last 20, and here's one, by the way, very obviously tiny one that's 3D printed, but in the last 25 years, there has been, of course, improvements to design in making the cutters better, working with the outside kind of design of the bit. But he kind of went into the inside, right? And he said, his whole life he's worked with the hottest temperatures known to man, as hot as the sun, 30,000 degrees, right? Rocket engine design, and being able to cool those down for people to work with or to work on. So basically, he said that, guys, this is great. Let's make the cutters better. Let's do this. But the number one key to performance and longevity in this tool, this instrument, is the heat that's happening at the cutting edge and rejecting that heat, taking that heat away from this process, right? Because he said cooling, his whole life he spent with, in that space, basically. So what he did was he kind of put a little bit of a twist that he's done before with a specific injector to an engine. It's kind of a spray flow option rather than, let's say, every other conventional drill bit company on the planet has nozzles that actually look like this, and we have a couple of them, just 3. This is our steel bit design. But if you look through there, right, you can kind of see the hollow inside, right, of the bit body, the plenum it's called. So you could see in there, right? And everyone else usually has 7, 8, 9 nozzles, where if you look through any of them, you could see inside of the bit body. Well, what we did was, my dad said, well, first of all, there's not enough of them. Why are there only 9 nozzles, right? And why are they directed down? Why is this mud flow, drilling fluid, water, why is it going down and hitting the cutting floor? The cutting is happening right here, right? The cutting is happening right here, right, at the cutters, at the diamonds. So basically he said, these nozzles shouldn't be pointed down. They should be pointed right to where the cutting and the shearing is happening, right? These are the cutters, the guys that are kind of taking those nice little ice cream scoop, cuts, right? So by doing that, he said, okay, so as you can see, this is our nozzles, our ports, nozzles, right? They're all angled, right? If I look through it, I cannot see inside of here, right? Because it takes an angle, right? So because they're angled here, right? And they're angled to the cutting edge, which is here, right? If I go straight through there, right? If I go like this, I'm going to come out somewhere out here, right? So in order for this to work, for our design to work, we have a curved channel, on the inside.
Right to where the hot point is, right to where the cutting edge is, and that.
Exactly. We can't have, like everyone else has straight, channels you can see right through. We can't have that, right? Because we don't come down straight. We don't come out straight. We come out at an angle. So our curved channels on the inside of the bit body, right? So this is, let's say, one of our nozzles, right? It goes in here, but it curves to get to the inside of the bit body into the plenum, right? It curves. So what we've done to prevent erosion as well for that curve, because no one else has it, so right away everyone's concerned is like, oh, you got that mud flow and the water flowing through this curved channel, it's going to erode, erosion. We said, we got you. So what we've done is we've put tungsten carbide sleeves into those channels to prevent the erosion, right? So also some concerns some of the operators had was, hey, on our matrix design, we have somewhat of a smaller exit, like an 8mm exit, where they said, well, we want to, in some cases, we want to control the total flow area, the TFA, right? And in order to do that, if all of your ports exits are the same, well, we've got to just plug one of them or two of them to do that. So in our steel bit design, what we've done is we've expanded the size of the exit. These bad boys here are 22mm. But if you can see this little ridge kind of looking deal here, that's an expandable nozzle insert. So now we put it in the hands of the operator to say, hey, I want these exits to be 22s, 20, 18, whatever you like, right? So now you're in control. These are 12mm exits, right? All of these guys that are in the, in the junk slot area. So you can as well. They have, nozzle inserts as well. So you can make those 12s, 10, whatever you like, right? So you're controlling the total flow area. And it's been very interesting because, we face some, one second. You can edit this out. Get my guys back on. We face some concern from investors, from potential customers, operators, and so we've, as we go down hole and put our bits down hole with, lab tests, field tests, we are covering different, concerns that folks had and continuing to design our bits to perform and outperform the competition. So to go back to what my dad's idea was, he said, hey, we have to cool this process. The cutting edge is about 1200 degrees. So, but you can see the difference. 30,000 degrees, rocket engine design, 1200 degrees here. So this was like middle school for him, right? He was like, oh, I know exactly what we have to do. So he said, yeah, let's direct these so we have directional fluid flow towards the cutting edge, towards the cutters. And by doing that, we've been able to bring the temperature and slice it in half, right? So we're not at 1200 degrees like everyone else. We're at about 600 to 700. So what that does is, you could probably tell me yourself what that's going to do, right? If you're rejecting the heat from the cutting process by half, right? 2x, you are, our drill bits, they go down deeper, they go down faster. Longevity, there's, the life of the bit is extended. We get more bit runs. The cutters stay in better shape. We don't have to refurbish as often as others. Environmental responsibility, less CO, we're saving days and weeks on the rigs for operators. So, less big diesel engines working, right? Less black smoke in the air, less CO2 emissions. So, there's quite a few. My dad always says with a great invention, it usually doesn't just solve one problem, right? It covers many different bases. So that's kind of what we have here. And, we have patents behind us, U.S. patents, international patents. We have a great team, that I've built over the last about year and a half. We're hiring folks out in Midland, out in West Texas and Houston. And we have great investors behind us to definitely kind of bankroll the operation. And our goal is to build it to, $100 million business and keep going, and see where those conversations lead us. But we're really excited at the beginning of this year because we are engaged with West Texas operators, Canadian operators, drilling service companies. We have a couple of situations going on in the Middle East. So we've really just taken off in 2025, and we're manufacturing drill bits for those, at least these three regions initially. and yeah, lot of excitement
Okay,
this
so
year.
let's do a couple of things. Let's talk about uniqueness. Okay, you gave us some really the details. Paint a little bit more of a picture. What is, like somebody who's running the drill bits, running the operations, what does it mean to them? And because you started to touch on it, like how much faster they can go. They can drill something in this time versus that time. Tell us more about that. I want to translate this into a way where people understand. Wow, it really, you have a unique solution, and this is the impact it's having on production.
Yeah, there's many challenges that drilling companies, operators face out there in the field. With high costs, taking trip times, having to pay crews more money to stay longer. There's just a number of risks that you immediately take on as you get out in the field. That basically we're helping to avert some of those risks by providing a better tool, right? A better downhole tool to get the job done. I always like to say better. I don't like to say cheaper. I like to say more affordable because we are a startup. We're coming in at a little bit of a better rate. We're trying to beat competitors' pricing and faster, right? So basically, most of these drilling operations, their whole goal is to get in there, get set up, and get the job done as fast as possible and move on to the next job,
Yeah.
right? That would be like a drilling service company. But operators as well, right? They're drilling wells, and then it's, production side time. So, so we're helping to cut time, to cut costs, whether it's labor, costs, material
Fuel,
costs.
labor, the number of bits that's required is faster, so you get to market it faster. I mean, anybody who produces anything, those are the kind of outcomes you want. So
Yeah, our
okay,
goal in 2025 is, and I think this can pretty well, echo out through the whole, let's say, drilling space is, cost savings and efficiency. 2025, that's all we're about. We're about helping folks with their drilling operations all across the board and helping with cost savings and efficiency, like I said, to get the job done better, faster, and at a more affordable rate.
and the timing's good because it is in the U.S. It's drill, 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 right? Drill, baby, drill. So
Right, our president likes that
yeah.
saying.
Yeah, drill, baby, drill. And then Canada, they suppressed their own energy market, but that's starting to change. Leadership changes, opportunities change. So what do you expect? Like, what do you see in the marketplace? Like, how much demand is there for drill bits like yours?
Yeah, look, I think we just visited West Texas and spoke to one of the largest operators out there. Had a great conversation. We're developing we're doing some trial runs with them, and they're drilling 500-600 wells, this year. So because of now, again, when you say drill, baby, drill, just because the leader of our country says that doesn't mean all these big oil and gas companies are just going to abide and go, hey, like. You have to find it first, right? There's a process to actually getting the job done in that sense. But I do love, and I'm similar in the way that Mr. Trump is with just the positivity, right? Like I think he's just overly positive with like setting a goal and just getting it done, and he just blindly goes at it. Like this is what we're doing it, right? And so I'm similar in that sense that, hey, I think if you stay positive about your goal or the task at hand, and I think that comes to me from my athletic career, from my life as a tennis player, and the confidence that it gives you to just train all day every day, work your butt off, blood, sweat, and tears, and then go on the weekend or go for a week and play a tournament and win the tournament or beat that one guy you can never beat, right? Just the feeling that gives you and the confidence that gives you, it's like I feel like I can do anything, right? Or if I'm not, and I'm not cocky, I'm a very humble human, and there's a lot of things I can't do, but guess what? I'm going to find the right person to come help me do that, or build the right team to do that, to accomplish that goal that's set forth. So I do like the positivity from the leadership, the new leadership that we have incoming, for sure.
Yeah, it's a change of almost like we're tired of mediocrity. Right? We want to go and do something, and so the time is good, and it's definitely a process. My dad did a lot of grew up in Houston, worked with a lot of drilling companies, and you got to find out where it is, drill, and then you get the well pumpers and stuff, and but it's a new. I think it's a new era for North America, Canada, and the USA. And then there's always global demand. The Middle East, Venezuela has more oil than Saudi Arabia, and it's stuff going on there.
Yeah,
so.
I like the overall kind of like idea about merit as well. There's still a little bit of a good old boy system here in Texas, or somewhat in the U.S., where a handshake, a friendship, which is great too, I think. But I'm more interested in performance based, right, achievements and merit based relationships, where it's like, hey, I don't not necessarily. Obviously, you want to try to be a proper business person and do your business the right way, but hey, if you're giving me a product that is going to help me give me a 10, 20, 30% increase in performance, I'm not worried about really who you are. As long as we can do good business between us, each other, I'm going to use that product, because I'm about cost savings. I'm about efficiency, right? So I'm a lot more kind of brain-wise structured in that manner. So
Yeah, it sounds like you just want a fair shot, right? You're competitive. You got a tool that you know is better, and you just need a fair shot. Let's run your traditional bit compared to our cool bit, and you tell me which one wins out. That's all you need is a fair shot.
yeah, they have a thing in the oil field called a runoff, where you put two bits side by side in similar kind of application, and just run it,
Just
right,
go.
and see what. So that's kind of that's where we're at now. The most important thing for us this year is, and that our shareholders would like to see as well, is getting runs in with operators, and then getting sales, rentals, and then getting those run reports, right, which is your proof, right, your statistics based on, hey, that was a run out in the Permian Basin, this is what it did, and then you have minute by minute, hour by hour data and analytics showing what our drill bit is doing and how it's outperforming our competitors. So that's kind of I wake up every day with those kind of things in mind. It's the investor kind of, let's say, hunt has taken somewhat of a back seat, because we have a really strong investor behind us that is just pushing us to, generate revenue, get your product out there. And the cherry on top is to have a tool pusher or a drilling manager, superintendent, or drilling director, or an engineer say, drilling engineer say, hey, we're using X, right? You can name them, whoever you like in there. Insert drill bits for years, and we put CoolEdge Bits, tool in the ground down hole, and man, it completely outperformed anything we've ever used, right? Like having someone say that, and they'll say that anyway. They'll go have a beer with a buddy and at a bar after work, and the word will spread. But we've also have to spread it, right? So that's why we've hired some sales, kind of building a sales force out there in Midland, Houston, Calgary, Canada. We're looking to get a Middle East kind of CoolEdge Bits division in the Middle East, and most likely it will be Abu Dhabi going, and just the goal is to just have most corners of the globe covered.
Yeah, get the word out, proven. All you need to do is be a chance to run side by side, and then let the product speak for itself. And if you're playing chess, so you're in startup, you're starting to get past startup, you got an investor backing you. As you make income and you get a foothold in the marketplace, the fact that you have income and you have a very unique solution, the value of your business is a multiple. Whatever that dollar coming in, positive cash flow, right? You get paid a multiple because you do have something so unique. And then that creates, from a life standpoint, you can keep operating the business, and multiple generations can run the business, but you have other options, right? You can exit and get the big check and generational freedom kind of thing. So,
Yeah, because I'm, again, going back to the competition and growing up as an athlete, I'm a very competitive human. So I kind of for a long time, I worked as a tennis coach, right? Tennis professional, a program director here or there. And that was just kind of it, right? Just W-2 employee. I know I'm getting this amount of money per year. We're living a comfortable life. I have a big family. A shout out to my wife,
you do.
who's amazing. She's my chief of staff. She does everything, and we have 5 children. So big family. But the competition aspect that I've was able to transfer from tennis and learning, and playing, competing, and then teaching into business. I'm actually starting my own podcast as well, and it's going to be called The Cutting Edge, and we'll be talking, how, let's say, business life relates to maybe a successful previous life in sports, and just a whole, working hard, having some talent, getting a little bit of luck, running teams, leading, building teams, and how that all relates, and how you came up as even if you're a musician or an athlete or an artist, how that helps you if you're now a business owner or you're successful in another, let's say, working part of your life. So that'll be coming out here in the next month or so.
Yeah, those skills are transferable. If you can run with people in one area, you can run with them in another area, and then learn, the different things, new things. You learn what you need to learn. I think the timing is really good. Obviously, something really unique. And man, it's muddy work, drilling. Chains around the pipes and pulling stuff up. And if I can run it longer, deeper, and not have to pull things out and clean things up, I'm talking about that, right? It's like having a better car, better whatever. And I'm talking about that. So good for you for getting out there, getting the word out.
1 sec, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just putting the screen on.
You want to keep the commander's desk going.
Yes.
So, like, where all this adds up, what is financial freedom? What does that mean to you?
I think financial freedom to me means, being comfortable in my work life as well as my family life, and being comfortable enough to be able to work hard, but be able to take time off as well and travel and see the world and, have bills taken care of and be able to invest and build kind of a nest egg for the future for my children and their children. And so that's really kind of what drives me, is to wake up and really just put the pedal to the metal. So.
Yeah, so there's a generational aspect and there's a day-to-day aspect.
Metal to the pedal. Did I say it wrong?
Pedal to the metal? Metal to the pedal? What way is it?
One of those. Sorry,
hit
go
it.
ahead.
Yeah. I kind of heard something like you have money for the expected and the unexpected. Because you have 5 kids. There's going to be...
Yeah. The oldest one about to go to college. And,
Yeah.
Actually, that might be a little bit of a stress reliever as far as financially, because the private school he's in now, high school, costs more than the college that he wants to go to. So that might be.
Yeah. Woo!
But it's a good blessing to have. I have some friends, or I hear some people that maybe don't have children, and kind of how they talk about it, and I'm just like, man, if you only knew, it's the best feeling in the world is to have a family, watch your kids grow, try to raise them correctly and watch them excel, and then like I said, build business to hopefully pass it down to them, teach them, don't hand them anything, right? But teach them how to get into it as well, if that's what they're, that's what they want to do.
And there's all kinds of ways, you can build a business as an asset so it doesn't require all the active hours. And then I know one guy who owns 150 businesses, and I'm pretty sure he's not even putting in an hour, but he builds them as an asset where a good team, no dependencies on him, no dependencies on key customers. And so the money's good, right? Household income, everything else, and his active hours are, he works like 8 to 16 hours a week on everything he does, and the rest is relationships, that kind of stuff.
That's the goal, man. Networking, relationships, building businesses. keeping focused on the business at hand, but also seeing different avenues. But man, I think you touched on something that's been a bit of a pain point recently is hiring. I mean, I don't know I think it's like pretty much like I talk about like the COVID hangover. I think the pandemic hit us. People kind of got used to just being in the house, working, talking like we're talking and not being in the office. And it's just like hiring has been somewhat of a challenge in the past, let's say half a year to a year. People do not want to work, man. They do not want to give you a scope of work. They don't want to tell you what they're doing. They skip hours. They do this, but then they send you invoices or they ask for a check at the end of the month. Yeah. So that's been a challenge, and I want to try to help lead the whole push back towards like, hey, get your butt in the office. You're going to sit right next to me, and we're going to knock this stuff out, hand in hand, rather than me, sending throwing an email football over to you.
Yeah, and just to build on that, I mean, you have something like energy. No matter what you say, clean energy, dirty energy, whatever. We need energy to live. Prosperity, a good life, and you're bringing that. How do you get it more effectively, more efficiently, where people can live the life they want to live, and then inspire people? You'll be part of this journey. Bring this into the world where it's better, and then I couldn't imagine. Well, first of all, I love work. I love what we do, building business kind of stuff, 30 years. But I do it from a sense of purpose. Like, it matters. It doesn't matter what job it is, you're bringing something to the world. And if it wasn't valuable, no one would pay you to even be there to do it. So really lean in and, show up a certain way. And then for me, I share your values with family. I got 2 boys. I didn't go for 5, but I should have. I should have done at least 3 in hindsight.
I got 2 boys also.
Yeah, that's good. You got them in there. But there's so much meaning, like go out, work, overcome obstacles, bring things into the world. And then for me, when I came home and had my sons growing up, gave meaning to that, right? Now, for me now it's the second mountain, but so
with yours, it's impressive in your case because they're already grown. I mean, getting grown, and men that are successful and they're help protect our country, and so like you should feel accomplished by already what you've done.
Yeah, they're out there, and then all kinds of scenarios with your family. You could build businesses, and another one is an asset, and maybe they work in them, maybe they don't, but then teach them how to be good stewardships of those businesses. But that's how everything we know has come into the world from something like from an idea to an outcome. I love that your dad, the friends of your dad, they knew he could just keep dropping things off in his garage.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's interesting. He says like, it's so funny because his whole life he's worked on like things that are impossible, in rocket engine design, or even here with the drill bit situation where it's like a team of experienced people. Sometimes, or maybe most times, his bosses or seniors are like, oh, no one's done anything here in 60 years. This is not this is unsolvable. And then he goes out, does his work, research, study, and he solves the problem. 60-year-old problems that haven't been solved in rocket engine design. He's gone and solved them and gotten patents and inventions to his name, and then he brings it to these people, and he shows them how he solved the problem, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, that's easy. Of course, yeah, that's how you."
It's obvious now.
Yeah. He's like, what the heck, people? You were just a couple months ago, you were telling me how this is impossible. Now I showed you how it's possible and solved the problem, and now you're like, oh, it's easy. So, and also like, different, operators, customers, investors that we've been dealing with are like, because what he's kind of done with this, with this kind of directional fluid, it's like, of course you do that. Why, if there's some kind of cutting, forget drilling, just anything, you're drilling a hole in the concrete, right? Like, why would you have some water that's next to it? Put the water right where the drill is happening, right? Of course. But they were like, how did we miss this? We have, hundreds of thousands of people getting paid billions of dollars in salaries for years, 20, 50, 25, 30 years trying to do this. And our answer is like, hey, because great inventions are usually not created or come about by some guy, the head dude, getting a group of like 10 guys or girls and saying, hey, go in that room over there and invent something or solve this problem. That's usually not how it happens. Usually it's one dude that's very intelligent or that has some type of knowledge or space for knowledge, right?
Yeah.
That a lot of times isn't even in that field where this invention breakthrough happens, and he happens to get a glance or a look and put his kind of put his brain to it and is able to come up with like a disruptor with something that people have been trying to solve for years, right? You
Yeah.
go back to, I mean, the Teslas and the Thomas Edisons and everybody like that. So that's kind of our answer is like, and my dad wasn't being paid to do this. Like this was a hobby for him. He just wanted to help his friends, and it was an interesting thing for him. And the degrees that he has in mechanical engineering and physics and rocket science, they just happen to match up perfectly for the solution that needed to be created for this problem, right? So, and he was able to do it, go in and get it done. So.
Yeah, you have a mature technology, and it does. There's outsiders can see things that people who came up, right, in a certain environment, they've all bought into. This is the way you do it, and maybe they can make incremental, like 1%, 2%, very small incremental changes, right? But
It's almost not in their favor to make a huge change, right? Because they have wives, they have kids, they have cars, they have mortgages. It's really they have good salaries, they have good reputations. For them to jump off the porch or to do something like, no, they're good, they're comfortable, no risk, low risk. I'm giving myself like I told you I was, right?
Yep.
For a long time, I was comfortable going, clocking in, teaching 8-10 hours of tennis a day, clocking out, going back to my family, knowing exactly what I would make every week, every month, every year. But it took a number of students of mine who are very powerful, influential people in our city and in the world to tell me like, hey, you're a number one guy somewhere, or you got to go, like you're wasting your time over here. You got to go do your own thing somewhere. And so that's why, a couple years back, I left the whole W-2 prison, corporate life as I call it, and I started my own tennis academy, and that led to another business and another business. And, now, and then my dad was like, drill bits, so that's CoolEdge Bits came about, and I think that's what it takes is taking, there's a risk, but the reward is so great, and the freedom, not just financial, but just the freedom to be able to operate how you can operate, and to be able to call the shots and build a team and lead. There's nothing better than that. The best decision I ever made was to start my own business.
Yeah. You first mountain you did it, and second mountain is something else. Good. So let's. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, and I know you're not looking for investors, but you never know, right? There could be something out there, customer, somebody who wants to work with you, for you. What's the best way for them to contact you?
So you can visit our website, CoolEdgeBits.com. You can visit our LinkedIn page, CoolEdge Bits. You can, email me. My email address is Vasili@CoolEdgeBits.com, or you can email our admin at CoolEdgeBits.com. And we're out there, man. We've got a great marketing team behind us at Midnight Marketing, shout out. And, they're doing a great job already for us in a short time. And we should have gotten with them earlier, but now we're here. And, you're going to start to see us getting blasted out to the masses, as we continue to operate our business and, drive revenue. And like you said, with a purpose, though. Our purpose is to do, to help operators with their drilling kind of operations and help them save time, help them save money, help them do a better job, faster.
Okay, Vasili, I have a challenge for you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a challenge for you. You got to get with Trump and have him profile you. Look what these companies are doing. We're going to drill, baby, drill. Right? I mean, he needs some example of what entrepreneurs are going to redefine energy in a number of different sectors. And I know you with relationships.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I mean,
we have a connection. We have a somewhat of a connection there. I don't like to name names, but to the Department of Energy. So we're working our little channels there. I'd love to get in front of President Trump to kind of just show him what we're doing, what we've done. and again, I come kind of originally from the same side of the world as his wife, so there, some could be some synergy there, and past everything, like I hate the whole, since World War II and a couple years after that, the Cold War and Russia and U.S. and all these movies and all these ads and all. It's just like completely just doing this with the two countries when, in my opinion, and hopefully this is what will come to fruition as President Trump and, the leaders there meet and talk, that these countries shouldn't be doing this. They should be doing this,
Yeah.
right? They should be good friends. I mean, just look at the people. Look at American. Look at Russian people.
Oh, man,
Kind of look the same, right? It's like the same looking people. So I think there could be something there to where, if these two superpowers teamed up, I think the rest of the world would have to watch out.
Yeah, resourceful, entrepreneurial, right? Don't know when to stop. Keep going, kind of stuff. Oh man, just put it out there. I mean, the things we could do as humans, right? If we were more aligned, aiming up versus the other stuff that goes on. Like even the fires in California. I mean, I think sprinkler system for irrigation, agriculture, like, thousands of hectares, all wet. I've seen Japanese villages that are prone to fires. They have when the fires are coming, sprinklers pop up. Everything in the village is wet. Every house, right?
Wow.
And pretty sure we can solve that, right? The fires in California without what we come to, and a whole lot more. And
No, I agree. I think we have so many problems in our country that we have to address first before we start trying to save the world. So, yeah, 100%. Have some friends as well that have homes that were in that area. Some barely missed. Like I have a friend who showed me, his house, his neighborhood, and it was like a little app that was showing like the homes and the damage. And literally, his house, it was like green, orange, and it was like black. And every house, there's like 200 houses in the neighborhood. Every single one was black. His was green, and his neighbor's was like orange, and
Wow.
it was crazy, man.
Yeah, that's a grace of God kind of stuff. So, in your part of the innovation, I want to give credit to you. You're bringing better things into the world. So, to freedom, financial, time, relationships, and so, Vasili, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me on, and great friend, and can't wait to get with you again. I think I'm actually maybe in your neck of the woods before you come back down south. But yeah, we'll see, and I appreciate you having me on.
Great, man. I look forward to our next discussion.
Thanks, Kurt.
See you soon.